Welcome to Craft and Crashouts with your co-hosts Mick and Ari. We are both writers trying to become traditionally published, and on this podcast, we meet every week to discuss craft, progress, and what we are currently crashing out about.
So I asked Mick to push back the start of this podcast recording because I went to a spin class before this. I actually went to 2 since the last time we spoke. It was not as bad as I thought it would be, actually. Like, it was okay. Like, I didn't die, of exhaustion. Yeah.
I feel like it's fun because you can hide in the back. You don't have to do every up down that everyone's doing. Like, I don't really do that like that. But the music and everyone gets like really into it.
Love exercise. I forget.
I'm sorry,
I forget how crazy endorphins are.
Oh my God.
You just forget sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I am an hour post workout class and I am riding high right now off of a cycling class. But yeah,
especially
I did a full
cardio.
hour. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I love it. Like, my favorite cardio is swimming because I used to be a swimmer. So not a swimmer now as an adult. And I fight against any rigorous plan when swimming. I don't do flip turns. Couldn't even pay me to do those.
Oh my God, so fan.
I just swim back and forth. High, I ride high all day. I love a pool. I love being in the pool.
Yeah.
I love swimming. I love exercise. I'll probably work out after this, but today is leg day, so I'm lifting weights.
I love a leg day. I've been just trying to hit my 10,000 steps a day, and I did do an upper body day yesterday, but I'm going super gentle, super easy. And today, I don't know, I was sitting there on the couch reading, and I was like, who is she? I want to get my heart rate up. And so I just went, and it was awesome. It was a pop punk cycling class.
Oh,
and so it was
God.
Blink-182,
yes.
Fall Out Boy, Paramore, you name it. And I was just I was jamming. I was this is beyond my speed. This is tailored for me specifically. And it was heaven.
Did you have a favorite pop punk band in your youth?
This feels so generic, but I'm a big Fall Out Boy fan.
I love Fall Out. Not generic at all.
I love Fall Out Boy.
Appropriate answer.
Even when I clean my apartment to this day, if I need to deep clean, I will listen to Fall Out Boy.
I love that.
Yeah.
What is it?
How about you?
My favorite, I'm trying to think of my favorite Fall Out Boy songs because I love their titles. They're so ridiculous. Oh, it's I'm like a lawyer, the way I'm trying to get you off. That's my favorite song from them.
That's a good one. There's also another one that has lawyer in the name. I think it's Our Lawyer Made Us Change the Name of the Song or something like that. Am I making that up?
No, I think that is true. No, I love Fall Out Boy. Mine's probably even more generic because they lean more pop than punk, but it's definitely All Time Low.
Oh, All Time Low. A classic. Yeah.
Mom, if you're listening, don't listen. But when I was a teenager, I went to a concert of theirs in Cleveland with my friends. And this was the height of mid-2000s pop punk era, the height of, it was a different time back then. And All Time Low was known for collecting bras on stage.
Mikayla.
So
please continue.
Yeah. So I threw my bra up on stage. What was funny is I was with these people at the time who had a band, and they brought their demo CD. And so we cut the pocket of my bra open and safety pinned it together and put the CD in there, and I threw it up on stage. was a win-win for both of us.
And the band
They
listened
never
to it and
reached
they
out to
loved it
them,
and they
obviously.
got signed and
Yeah,
now
right?
your friends are
No,
famous.
not at
Oh
all.
my God. What a story. I freaking love that so much. That is so, if you ever write a contemporary romance, like I feel like that should be the start.
That's
like
good
the
one.
meet cute is like this girl threw her bra up on stage with like a demo CD in it. And this guy was like, oh, incredible.
And like all of our dreams. I was such a little like a local band groupie girl. Like I was like going to all the local concerts, flirting it up with men who were way older than me. The 2020s were a different time.
Yeah. They really were.
I loved it though.
I grew up in Brooklyn. So I too was like in it. Who was the band that sings like, hold on a second, let me look it up. Hello Goodbye. Do you remember Hello Goodbye?
Oh
Less
my God,
pop punk.
Of course. Yes. But
they were
still...
my first concert. They were my first concert. It was like this tiny, tiny concert venue in New York. And me and my friends were like very much the type of people who's like, a $10 ticket? That's pizza money. Well, like, let's go.
That's the thing is like concerts used to be really inexpensive. Like I was going to a concert every weekend because there were like a lot of local bands that were like cool on the rise. Pop punk were like $5.
Yes, they were so inexpensive. And this was also a different time. Like we didn't have cell phones. Oh my God.
No.
I'm aging myself. But, like,
I know. We are.
Cell phones. So we were like 13 years old in New York City, like going to concerts. And I was like, I'm sleeping by my friend's house, Mom. Like, it's fine. We're safe. It was not safe.
No.
But we were fine. But it was awesome. We would just like go to all of these random concerts. Yeah, core memories, truly.
Core memories. I was such a little concert fiend with my friends. I miss it. And I still love going to concerts now. It's just like way more of an investment.
Yeah.
I did see All Time Low recently. I made my husband go so he could understand why I love them. He loves them now. But what's funny is we saw them walking after the show. It was like a festival, and I really only came for All Time Low. It was a small festival, like a very small Cleveland festival. Yeah. But they were walking to their tour bus, and they walked right in front of us. And I time slowed down. I didn't know what to do. And my husband pushed me in front of them like a child to be like, say something. And I didn't say anything. And then he had to be like, that was a great show, guys. Right?
Whips out the bra in front of her husband.
No, he had to step forward and be like, great show, guys. Like, love what you did out there. And they were like, oh, thanks,
you were
man.
Starstruck.
And I silent, and then I burst out in all in one word, like, last time I saw you I was 16. And they were like, okay. So even at 30, I'm embarrassing myself in front of All Time Low. So and if you know Jack Bearcat, if you're ever listening to this, I love you.
I still would commit murder to go to a Paramore concert.
Oh my God.
To this day, I would.
I know. And I went to the Taylor Swift concert, and I didn't go to a show that they were opening for. And I was really upset because that would have been killer.
Yeah. So good. One day we will go. Speaking of tickets, I managed to buy a ticket to BookCon in April.
Okay, you got it.
I did. So BookCon, it's this big convention. A ton of authors are going to be there. I think Samantha Shannon, Rebecca Roanhorse, Lee Bardugo, Victoria Aveyard. So many people are going to be there. So the tickets sold out in 5 seconds, pretty much. And then they recently announced that they were going to sell a couple more, and it was crazy. Can I tell you, the tickets went on sale at noon on December 3rd, and I was there at 11:50, just like ready, like on the website. And at 12, they use this website called Queue It Up, or like Queue It or something. And it basically like puts you into a random order in which like you can then place tickets so they don't crash the website, I guess. And I had to wait until like 12:15, and by the time I got there, Saturday was already sold out. Isn't that crazy?
No, that's crazy. We have to figure this out, not just for concerts, but I feel like any event, especially because like we went like 2, maybe more years without a lot of like big group events from
Yeah.
COVID. It's like
Yeah.
so many people are rushing to get to events, but I don't know what's happening lately. Like you can't get any concert tickets anymore, and they're so
I know.
expensive. Like
It's insane.
you can't get any of the convention tickets anymore. Like everything sells out, and I'm just like, is this seriously people, or is it like are bots buying BookCon tickets?
That would be wild if that were
I
the
don't think
case.
so.
I don't think
I
so
feel like it's
either.
just so popular and it hasn't been back in so long. It's
Yeah.
just kind of like there's so many people, which is great. Like there's so much interest, but
Yeah.
also, damn.
Damn. Anyway, if anybody listening is going to BookCon on Sunday, April 19th, I think, hit me up. Let's meet up and chat. I am still working through Our Share of Night, which
Mm-hmm.
was the same rate as last week. But I've also started, because I'm an audiobook girl, like when I go for a walk, when I'm cooking, whatever, cleaning, I like to listen to audiobooks. I started Gideon the Ninth by, I think it's Tamsin
Oh.
Muir. And I started on an audiobook, and whoever the narrator is incredible. She really is bringing the whole world to life. And the voice
Mm.
of this book is so much fun. Um,
Hmm.
and I'm just really enjoying it. It's been like a really fun ride so far. I think I'm probably like halfway
Cool.
through.
I have owned that book forever and haven't read it, which shows you
Yeah.
next year. I tried this year to get through my physical TBR, but I broke so poorly because there was just so
Yeah.
many great books coming out. I
I
have to
know.
get through my physical TBR. But okay, I'll write that down because I love a good book that has like a different, unique voice to it.
It is. It's very unique and it's very fun. And the struggle of getting through a physical TBR it's real. It's so real. How about you?
It's
What have you
real.
been reading this week?
I started reading The Hunger Games again.
Hmm. Okay.
Don't know why. We are already living in a dystopian hellscape, but I haven't read it since I was a kid, and I hadn't read any of the newer books to the series that she did.
Yeah.
And since that new movie is coming out next year, I was like, oh, this might be a good time to reread it. And I am the one of the people who likes to have like a daytime book and then like a nighttime book,
I actually
which
really
goes on my
understand that.
Kindle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been my nighttime book because it's like I feel like my nighttime book has like no pressure. And so I started rereading The Hunger Games, and it's like not a good time because it's way more depressing from an adult perspective. When you're like, these are children, that's crazy. I have
Yeah.
friends who have kids now who are closer to the age of 12. That's just like
That's
wild.
crazy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That broke my brain a little bit, but
And then when you put it
yeah.
into perspective, you're like, that's it's the horrors of it. I don't feel like I really wrapped my head around when I was reading it as a teen. And I think that's pretty evident in like the Petaverse Gale discourse that still happens, which, by the way, don't know
Yeah.
how there's discourse around that. Um, PETA from the beginning, it's pretty clear. She spells it out for you. Don't come for me, Gale lovers. But yeah, it's been interesting to like read it as an adult and with everything going on from just like a different perspective. So I'm just working
Yeah.
through the Hunger Games series now.
That sounds like such a nice little kind of comfort read too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
I love rereading
awesome.
stuff.
I do too. I also love like rewatching things, especially like movies. Like I'm a big
That's all I do.
rewatcher of things.
That's actually all I do. It's actually pretty bad. I push back on new cinema. I don't care. I love my comfort films.
What's
I'll
your
watch them
top?
all the
What's your
time.
number one?
Holes. Hands down. Holes. I watch
We can
Holes
end
all
this
the time.
episode here. We're good.
I made all of my friends. I went on like a 30th birthday trip this year, and we went to Joshua Tree National Park, and I made everyone watch Holes for my birthday. That's what we did, like, on my birthday. I said, I don't care what we do, but you're all watching Holes again because you need to.
I absolutely adore that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
And I hope there were like Holes themed foods or something.
There wasn't, which is sad. I should have planned more. Next year, we're watching Holes again for 31, and
love it.
You will appreciate it. Yeah, no, Holes. I mean, there's so many, but Holes is like,
yeah.
I love that movie.
Movie. It's so good. It's so good.
What about you? What comfort film do you have?
Mine is, okay, this is also a touchy subject because I just got my Spotify Wrapped, and my average my average listening age is 57. Okay.
I told my husband that this morning, and he also laughed.
I'm like, what is going on? But the really embarrassing thing is, like, my film is absolutely consistent because it's The Princess Bride.
Oh, yeah. But that's okay. That's a great film, though.
A classic.
A classic.
I really think I used to watch The Princess Bride like every single week from the ages of like 12 to 14.
I love that.
It's done something to my brain. I absolutely love that movie.
I love when I find out that someone hasn't seen a comfort film of mine, and then I force them to sit down and watch it.
I know. I'm so curious also, like, to anybody who's listening, like, please let us know what your top number one comfort film is.
I'd love to know.
I want to know. Yeah.
Okay. I guess we've avoided it long enough. What are you working on?
Okay. We have had breakthroughs. We have had breakthroughs this week. Last week, I was feeling real down in the dumps. I was not happy into it. I was in a slump in a way that I would say is kind of unusual for me. And I was just like avoiding writing, avoiding thinking about it. And I had a realization about my project, which I think ties into some craft stuff that we can chat about, where I was in kind of like the beginning of Act 2, which historically gives me just the absolute hardest time. That's generally where I get stuck the most. And I had this realization where I just had to sit myself down and be like, my girl, what is going on? Like, are you okay? Can we fix this? Like, where is this coming from? And I just had this realization of like, this is not working the way that I have it. And so what I did is I actually reverse outlined everything that I had so far. I have 20 scenes written for the book so far. And I reverse outlined all of it. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, here is the issue. Where basically my break into Act 2, they should be doing something as a trio with like these 3 characters where it should be really this like big relationship building, this big character building, this big, like they're going on this mission portion of the book. And I'm not doing that. Like I was kind of time skipping in this way that actually wasn't conducive to like what I actually needed them to do to get to the midpoint. And I just like looked at this reverse outline and I was like, here lies our issue. And I then broke down my book into sequences. And this has been life-changing. Have you heard of sequences, Mick?
Yeah, I actually think that's funny because I think that's what I started using this year. Do you mean like usually like film or TV will do that?
Yes,
like
exactly.
The 8 sequences?
Exactly.
Yeah, I've also been using that.
Wait, this is so funny. Okay, we definitely have to chat about it. So I feel like in one of the earlier episodes, we talked about like the 4-act structure. You know, you have your arcs, and then each of your scene has like its own mini arc within the act. But I felt like there was no like mid-level version of the arc that I like knew how to think about it, right? So if you like, you have your act arc, and then you have like each of your individual scene arcs. Like, where is the like mid-level arc that comes like, it's a little bit larger than the scene level, but it's smaller than the act level? Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, I think we need to break this down into like more manageable chunks. So I looked into Dan Harmon's story circle, which like they take the sequences and break it into kind of like more manageable chunks. And I basically just like organized my story into these sequences, and like a light bulb just went on, and I was like, I feel so much better. I feel like I actually know what the issue is. I know how to fix it, and I know how to proceed forward. And I've been writing again, and I'm really so happy. And we're like, I think almost 35,000 words into the book now.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, okay. I have a couple questions.
Please.
So you said 20 scenes. How does that relate to chapters for you? And how the heck do you know something is a scene? I feel like people ask that a lot.
Yeah, it's a great question. So generally when I think about a scene, I think about the main character has a problem that they need to solve in like a very micro level. So like whenever I go into a scene, I actually have like 3 points that I need to answer before I start drafting, which is like, what's the problem that we're entering the scene with? What's the turning point for the scene? And what's the resolution for the scene? And I've also recently started adding like, what is the character's like misbelief, and how does the scene touch upon it, so we can like get character development in there as well. And so I see a scene as like a micro movement towards solving a problem of like the larger plot that should also touch upon like the character development. And so like, I think, you know, if you've watched Brandon Sanderson's lectures, like I think he talks about it like really well. It's like, how do we like kind of make a map to basically like get to this endpoint and like take like one little step at a time. And so like that's kind of what I think about with scenes, is like, what is this like one problem that we need to solve? And for me, I think generally my chapters have either 1 to 2 scenes per chapter. And the way that I like to break up my chapters is, I actually thought a lot about this before I started drafting, because I was having a really hard time with it, is like, a chapter should feel like a chunk of progress towards the main plot. And so it's kind of like, if I want the main character to make a step in this direction when they should be going in this direction towards the main plot, like the direction that way will be like 1 chapter or something like that. I don't know if that makes a ton of sense, but it's kind of like, I tried to chunk it out in like very much like a plot development sense of like, this is what a chapter should be. Obviously it's not perfect. Obviously I'm going to have to go back in after this draft is done and like try to restructure it. But I think also what helps a lot with pacing is to try to like think about how you're structuring your chapters and like what progress is being made per chapter, so it feels like it's being paced appropriately for the story.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wonder, because like, since I'm still drafting, I try not to think too much into this, but I like what you said with like scenes, you're solving a problem. And now I'm like thinking back through some of the scenes. I'm like, I wonder if I'm doing that intuitively. Because
You probably are.
I feel like a lot of writers do things more intuitively than they think they are. For sure.
Completely agree.
Okay, but yay on progress. That's amazing.
Yay. Yeah. I'm just like so happy that it like is finally feeling like it's not pulling teeth at this point to sit down and write.
And maybe it's because you passed the 30,000 mark and you said 20 to 30 is like the rough zone for you for some reason for drafting.
It really is. It really is, isn't it, Ollie? It really is. You want to say hello? No, don't eat it. He always tries to eat it. How about you? What have you been working on this week?
So I haven't been writing much lately, the last like couple times we've been chatting, but I also feel like I've had a breakthrough in mindset. So I have a plan to get to the finish line by the end of the year, and it's just writing a little bit every day. I mapped it out. I'm going to hit it. I'm determined to.
I love it.
But I think because we talked last time about how I have to like trick my brain.
Yeah.
Because it's special. And because it's special. And so how I plotted, because I didn't really plot much this draft. We talked about how I'm like really trying to pants my way through this to make it fun and exciting. I know where I'm going for like major plot beats, more like the 7-point plot structure. Like I know where it's going. I too broke it down into sequences. Like you were saying, not Dan Harmon's story circle. I literally just use like what people use for film. I'm also doing 4 parts. So there's like 2 sequences per part. And I have 4 chapters per sequence. That's how I mapped it out. And then I've been letting myself like go wild within the confines of that, if that makes sense. So, which is actually like a lot smaller chapter wise than I ever thought this book would be. But as a standalone, I think it's fine. And my chapters are kind of long. I know that not everyone loves that, but they're kind of long, which is why I was interested in what you were saying with scenes. Because I've been doing 2 scenes per chapter, it seems like.
I think that's pretty standard. Yeah. Well, I'm curious what you mean by, like you said, your scene, like your chapters felt long, but something else felt short. Did I mishear you?
What did I say? I don't think so. Did I say something felt short?
I'm not sure. Okay. Anyway, let me rephrase.
Now I'm like, what did I say? Oh no.
if you're worried if your chapters feel long, I actually don't necessarily, I think a lot of books have pretty long chapters. And like if you feel the pacing is right for the story and it's adult, like I think you're doing good. How long? Well, I think like how many words would you say?
I don't know. I'm really trying not to look at word count. I think I realized also that like word count was stressing me out. Yeah. And so I really I mapped it out by like what scenes I need to work on. And some I don't know what they're going to be. It's just like, this is scene, number that you're going to be working on these 2 days. So I have like a whole calendar for December that I'm just going to try to check off those boxes. And if I work ahead some days, and I can give myself some breaks, which I love to have a break. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. But in terms of mindset, because I've been trying to really trick my brain, drafting first drafts, even though this is draft 2, it's really like a first draft with a lot of new ideas, always feels so harrowing to me. I'm always so worried about getting it right on the first draft, even though I know that's not what the first draft is for. But I feel my editing brain always trying to come in and like ruin my progress. And so I always go back and forth, back and forth. So what I've been trying to do to keep myself moving forward and to allow myself to have like an editing moment is when I finish a scene. Okay, let me start again. I think the disconnect sometimes with me, I don't really care that I don't know what a scene's going to do until I start writing it once I get into the flow. But what I don't like about first drafting is I feel like what I put on the page does not match what I have in my head at all. And that's where like the frustration with me comes in, because I'm like, I know how nuanced this scene is supposed to be. There's so many emotions missing. There's so many details missing. And it like bothers me that I can't move forward. And then I like get negative Nancy on myself, being like, see, you're a horrible writer because you can't do this. But I know that like for the first draft, I am just doing a lot of like scene directions and playing around with what feels right and blah, blah, blah. So to alleviate the pressure of that and to stop the like negative spiral so I can stay in the flow, I've been letting myself like free write after every scene exactly how I envision it in my head. Not in prose, not in writer speak, in like crazy scientific like madman note style, like this is what I want everything to happen now that I wrote the scene. Like, here's how this person should be feeling. Like, it's almost like I am editing as I go, but in more of like a free flowing, like journal thought. I'm just like typing like a mad person. And then it allows me to edit like a little because I'm kind of like reflecting, I guess, on like what I just wrote. But I think it's been tricking my brain to be like, see, it's okay. We know that it's bad. We know it's going to get fixed. We know what needs to happen. And that's been helping me stay in the flow a bit more. So I'm hoping to continue to stay in that. And like, dear God, I want to finish by the end of the year.
I love that idea so much because I feel like you're completely bypassing the like, oh, the skill level versus like, this is what I had envisioned. And I also think it's so smart because I feel like, I don't know if you're this way, but when I'm writing a scene, like, especially drafting it for the first time, like I'm as in it as I can ever be. And sometimes there's this like weird anxiety of like leaving a scene and leaving it in a way that doesn't feel like it resembles what I actually want. So you're actually like also helping your future self by writing all of these notes because you're like in it. You're in the mindset of the scene. You're experiencing it. You know exactly how you want it to feel. And even if the prose itself doesn't necessarily like hit the nail on the head in the way that you want, like you've written yourself like an encyclopedia of like, you know, even if you're not in this scene, like in that moment, like I can always come back and like, this is the vision. And so you're like making it easier for your future self, like when your editing brain does come in. I love that idea so much.
Yeah, and that's been helping a lot. And I actually feel like the breakthrough for me has been like, oh, like this might be my process from now on, at least with drafting, because like it allows me to put on my editing hat, which is my favorite part of writing and tearing everything apart and like changing it without doing the agonizing, like self-deprecating, like this scene sucks. I didn't execute it the right way. And now I'm going to like mull over it for a week and drag my feet. And now my draft isn't moving. Instead, it's like, okay, Mikayla, get it all out of your system. Yell about how horrible this scene is. I type in all caps. It looks crazy. I'll have to like show you guys like an image of it because it's like, it's wild. But then I get it all out and then I can just like move on. So yeah, and then I just started today printing out my book because I'm going to print it out myself and then get it bound by like Staples, just like one of the like plastic bound.
That's like a big, I love printing it out because it feels so much more real when there's like a physical manuscript in front of you.
I only did Act 1 because it was a lot of pages.
Fair.
And I was kind of scared it was going to break my printer. I've never printed out this many pages at once. So I just did Act 1 like before we hopped on. But it's 95 pages. It feels like pretty thick for Act 1. There's 4 acts.
I love it. I love it. That's a 400-page book.
I know. So, well,
there we go.
And this is like a letter size page. So I'm scared. But,
I love it.
I can do Act 2 as well. And I'm still in Act 3. But it's okay. I have a plan. I have a plan to get to the end. But yeah, I feel like this new thing will help my process move along so I can be done with this stage.
It's so funny because I feel like we've chatted about this where it's like we are so precious with Act 1 so precious with Act 1, and we spend so much time and energy and attention on trying to like perfect Act 1, and then you like slowly just like start to realize like you just can't be so precious because otherwise you're just like never gonna finish it. There was this meme that like went around when I was in grad school, and it was like how I thought my dissertation was. Wait, let me find this meme. It's hilarious. Yes. Oh yes, here it is. It's a horse. It's a picture of a horse. Oh God.
Oh yeah, I know where it's like
a picture of a horse.
Yes.
And it says my dissertation. The back half is like perfect, and it says intro and first half, and then it slowly turns into a stick figure and it just says the rest.
Yeah.
And if that's not representative of like how drafting goes, is like you're so precious with like the first act, and then just like slowly everything starts to just like disintegrate because you're just like you're hanging on for dear life. You're like, I just have to finish this at some point and make it good
So
later.
true.
And
no, I
you know
love
what?
that representation.
You're doing it because you know what? It's still a done horse.
Well, I think that's why I had to just print out Act 1 to signal to me, if you go back to this month, I will kill you, Mikayla. That is my message to myself. Because actually you can't, because now it's printed out and you can't reprint it because that's wasting paper. We don't waste paper. Yeah. So it is locked in. I cannot touch this stupid little act anymore.
I love it. I like that you locked it with printing too. Like you have to move on. You have to finish it.
You can't touch it in the Google Drive. You can't touch it in Scrivener. You can't fiddle with it on your phone. It's done. It's locked. I got to do that to Act 2, but I'm scared because there are some chapters I keep going back to. So I'm like, no, I think I just need to do the like word vomit thing, my madman notes. But yeah, so we are slowly walking to the finish line.
I love it. But you have a plan.
We have a plan.
And I love this process. I feel like it sounds like it's so helpful. And even if your madman notes are in the final printed like draft, like I think even as you're reading through, you're going to be like, oh, I see the vision. Like I see the vision. I know the vision. Like I know how to tweak things to get it there. And I think there's a lot of clarity with like printing things out and reading it through as a whole. Like don't discount that, but it sounds like there was a lot of really good progress.
Yeah. I guess we didn't even talk. Now we're going to probably derail, but I feel like we didn't even chat because you're in draft 2. So you're right.
Yeah.
2. So you're like a stage ahead of me, but we didn't even really chat how you like approach revisions. Cause I know you are like a redrafter. So you're rewriting. Do you have like a solid approach, or is it just we're rewriting the whole thing?
Do I ever have a solid approach? Ever?
Had to ask.
I honestly, like, I have a really hard time with if there's something written on a page, I have a really hard time with like rearranging or making it completely different based off of the source material. Like I feel like if I need to write something or like edit it to a point where like more than 50% of it or like even 40% of it is going to change, like I need to rewrite it. Like I need a clean document where like I can look at the original source material, but like I just feel like my brain doesn't let me venture out to other places away from what I had previously written unless it's like, nope, like this is a clean page. This is a clean document. I don't know why my brain works like that. I don't know. I just like, I feel like I have to rewrite it. So like I wrote the draft 0, wrote the dialogue draft, wrote the first draft. So this is technically a draft 4.
Yeah, it's technically 4, right. I was like, because even when I said draft 2, I was like, you've done more work.
Okay. Yeah. But I don't really count the 0 draft because like the 0 draft is just a glorified outline to me. The dialogue first draft was like 20,000 words. Like it really wasn't a ton. So I kind of put 0 draft, dialogue, first draft together. So like, yeah, I guess it's like a draft 3, draft 4. I'm calling it a draft 2 because it like takes the pressure off, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I just like sometimes feel like I have to write from scratch. Like it's too hard for my brain to see something else if there's something in front of me. But I will say like, no, like this version of it, even though it is still really messy and there's still a lot of work to be done, like it's by far, I think, the most book shaped thing I've written. But I also think that's a little bit in part of like, I'm trying to get this to a stage where like I could send it to beta readers. But I also think I've been really struggling with like making it feel creative and less like a job. And I think that's a little bit in part of like why I had a bit of a block like the previous weeks, is like I feel like one of like some of the things weren't landing right, weren't sticking right. But I also feel like I've just been putting too much pressure. And I feel like the past few days, I've actually just been kind of like taking the pressure off, trying to reconnect to the creative side, trying to like make sure like the inner workings of the story are like working a bit better. But I think like even on other things, like I think I'm not precious with drafting numbers. Like I'm the type of person where it's like, I'll write 10 drafts of something until it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Like even like outside of the creative writing sphere. Like I just like iterations. I don't like being super precious with my drafts, if that makes sense.
Okay, I have more questions. I feel like I'm interviewing you. Wrong podcast for that, but I'm like so curious. I don't know, because this is what I love about writing. I mean, this is why I do have another podcast where I talk to authors, because I'm just like, process is so interesting. And I don't
It's
feel like
so different.
it's just so different. Like everyone is so different, and that is like the beauty of it. So when you say that this one's more book shaped, you know, we say that a lot in like the writing community, but I feel like everyone means it differently.
Yeah.
Like what did the last draft, because I'm also now thinking about like my own process, because like, so the previous draft that you had is probably more aligned to what I'm writing right now. So like what about it made it less book shaped? Do you feel like the scenes weren't like as strung together, or like there was a lot more of like the bracketing of like do this here? Like what makes it less book shaped than this version?
Are you, let me ask you a question in return. Are you an underwriter or an overwriter?
You know what? People talk about this. I'm about to be exposed. I don't know. I don't know. I
Maybe
think
you're
it
a perfectly
really
on writer. And that's
I
okay.
I feel like I don't know. I have to wait and see until the whole draft is done, of course, because I feel like I don't feel like I underwrite or overwrite in terms of word count. I actually feel like I hit that pretty on the money. I think I underwrite or overwrite sometimes in terms of like scenes, which I don't feel like is what people are talking about in terms of underwriting and overwriting. I feel like usually my word count draft to draft doesn't change that much. But what happens is usually it's like, okay, like this scene is not needed. This was like a glorified transition. We can cut that out. Or like, okay, we're missing a couple scenes.
Okay,
Does
I
that make
see
sense?
what you
Like,
mean.
I feel like my word counts are pretty, like they're always like consistently 100 to like 130,000 words.
Okay, so I feel like you're probably like a pretty spot on word count gal. I am like a severe underwriter, and this is something I know. I underwrite. So I think when we talk about like overwriting and underwriting, I think there's like two ways in which you can do that. I think there's a way you can do it at like the structural level where you're either missing major plot beats or you have too many major plot beats, or you're missing on a scene level things like description or like character dynamics or like a lot of the bits of a scene that really make it feel real. I'm an underwriter on both fronts, which is like something I'm like very aware of. And so like the last, like I think that's why I like zero drafting so much, is because it's like I'm just like, and then this happens and it's fine. And like everybody's on the same page and we're moving forward. Right. And it's like I just let my underwriter brain go and my brain fills in the blanks for things that I have not written down on the page. And so like actually like the last draft that I did of Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call, it was at 100K, which for me was like an appropriate length. And I feel like I really combated my underwriter tendencies in a lot of ways. But I think I still underwrote in the sense of like character dynamics. And so what I'm really trying to do for this draft is like hone in. I think I have a really good grasp of plot and structure. But I'm really trying to hone in on like the cause and effect when it comes to like the character and how like the like main character is propelling things forward and how the plot is propelling things forward too, because I feel like I had it a little bit in the previous draft, but it's also like the previous draft wasn't exactly the vision that I have. I think for this draft, when I say it's more book shaped. I feel like I mean that it's closer to the vision that I have for it, and it has that sense of cause and effect that like makes it feel like lived in and real, that I feel like in previous draft it felt more like I was a puppet master. If that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense, because that makes me feel better, because that's how I feel my draft is going now. Like, yeah, I don't think I underwrite in terms of word count, but like character interactions and development are so
hard,
not present in this draft. It's all in my head, which is why I think I started doing the brain dump thing, so I could put it somewhere, because it's not present on a line level. Also, my characters barely speak to each other in some scenes. Like literally it's like silence, and I'm like, oh my God. So all that has to fix. Okay, that makes sense.
No,
I see what you mean. So we're like on the same page with like book shaped.
I feel like when I say book shaped, I really mean like it feels more like this is something that I could like provide to somebody, and my brain wouldn't have to do as much filling in because the stuff is actually on the page.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it does.
And I feel like for your stuff, like it really is so normal. Like I feel like I had so many scenes where it was just like Mick, like I, in previous drafts, was like so obsessed with logistics. Like every scene was just like, and then they walked here, and then they did this, and then they walked here, and then they did this. And I was just like reading pages of this, and I was like, why am I obsessed with logistics? Like, what is this? I think it's normal.
Drafts.
Yeah. Because like you're trying to figure it out. Yeah. You're
a stage director. You are telling, I mean, I don't know if you did theater growing up, but
no,
I was a theater kid. I was not a theater kid in the terms of like high school theater, which is so interesting. I did like community. There's like a kids community theater that I did, but this is now making me think of that. And now I think this is going to help my brain think about like the first draft. Cause like when you're doing theater, there's a lot of run throughs in the beginning where like it is just stage direction. It's like everyone's holding the script and the director is blocking out scenes. And you run through scene by scene where the director will stand there and like tell you where to go. Like, okay, you're going to stand here, then cross over this way. You all are going to do something over here. And everyone's like taping things on the floor. And, you know, the stage manager and everyone's like marking things in their book, like a playbook. And now I'm like, okay, this does make sense. I like that to kind of frame the first draft, or like a first more book-shaped draft where you're writing out every chapter. Like you kind of have to do the blocking, is like what it's called in theater. Is like you have to block out every scene, because it is weird when like I'd rather in every scene know what are we doing in this scene and where everyone is, which is basically what I've been doing for every scene. It's like this is what's happening, here's everyone that's in the scene, and this is what they're all doing. But like you said, like the emotional depth is nowhere to be found. She's not in the room with us.
I get you, girl. I get you. She's not in the room. Yeah.
No, my characters right now are smooth-brained people. They barely have a personality.
Love that.
I'm more focused.
Easier to mold.
Easier to mold. So much easier to mold. I'm like way more focused in the first draft on like setting, and not even in a depth way, but like I'm like building out the sets behind them. Like, where are we? What does it feel like? What does it look like? And that's a lot more of my scenes. So, okay, that's like really interesting. So now in this draft, you're doing more of, like you said, like that's why you're focusing on like the little arcs and the big arcs. So you're like making every scene work in terms of the plot and adding in. I just wanted to ask, because I feel like sometimes when, I don't know, we all talk about writing. Sometimes we get used to talking about writing in a really vague way.
Yes, I love.
You know what I mean?
Being vague.
And we all
no.
like we have to, like, we want to talk about writing in like a vague way, because I'm not trying to spoil my book. Ari and I both want to publish at some point and have you guys read these books. So we're like, we don't want to spoil. But then it's so funny because like when we talk in these, sometimes like we don't mean to be talking in vague terms, but I'm like, everyone means something different when they say
the jargon is not
uniform.
Not cohesive at all.
Because
Yeah.
everyone's process is so different. So I always like being like, wait, okay, what do you mean by this? Because that could mean something totally different. Like book shaped, we all say book shaped because it's funny. But what does book shaped mean to you?
No, I love it. You always ask such good questions. Like best question asker. But I really love the stage direction, like, and the theater analogy. Like, I think it's so funny because writing feels like such a internal process that I feel like we are constantly trying to find like real world physical analogies. So like I love the like sculpture analogy where it's like it's just a big rock and we're like hacking big pieces at it, and then like the last stage is going to be all of the little intricacies and nuances. Or like painting, we like color splotch general forms and shapes, and then we like fill in the mid-level details and then the fine level details, and like the stage direction stuff. Like I feel like we're constantly trying to wrap our heads around such an interior process that it's just like it's words on a page that we're constantly trying to like physically understand how it sits in space, because it's so cerebral. And I think it can be really helpful to think about it like that. Because
that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Well, I think, like you said, like that's a really great call out because it is so cerebral. And I think it is more often than not an art form where you don't see a lot of behind the scenes. So I think that's where the disconnect can come from, where like, I mean, when I was younger, I talk about this with the authors on my other podcast all the time. Like, I thought you wrote down a book start to finish and that's what ends up on the shelf. So when I was a teenager, a kid trying to write a book, I was like, why is this horrible? And I still act like that now. But yeah, I do feel like, I mean, with like AuthorTube and the social media, like it opens up our process more. But again, everyone's really vague because you don't want to give all your book details. So it is hard to like conceptualize.
Like, it's so funny too, like you say that and I'm like, yeah, like when you watch someone write a book, like you're literally watching them like write on a notebook or write on a computer. When you watch somebody like sculpt a sculpture, you can literally physically see each step of progress that they're making. But when you're watching somebody write a book, it's just like
so true. Yeah. And like you said, like it's so cerebral. Like the only way you can show those differences is if you literally showcase your writing. And you're like, okay, this is how I wrote the scene now. And then, okay, draft 2, this is how I wrote the scene then. And like showing the scenes change over time. It's like way harder. I do like going back to the theater analogy because like when you do rehearsals, like first you'll start with like, it's kind of funny. It's kind of like the dialogue draft that you talk about, or like a zero draft, or like outlining, because like everyone will sit down and like read through the script, just dialogue only. So it's kind of funny that you do a dialogue draft. I like that. And then you go to blocking, and then you'll do more of like that. Everyone knows their stage directions. And then how you're doing now in draft 2, you work on actually like saying your lines in the tone and in the way that your character should be feeling in that moment. And then you start going to like dress rehearsals where like, everyone then starts putting it all together, no script. And you're like fine tuning all the movements or the character changes. So yeah, it's like a lot of art processes, like you said, have this gradual buildup of skill level that we've been talking about over the last couple episodes, but it's like not shown in writing. So we all feel crazy because it's just in our head. And we're like, are we actually progressing? What's happening?
Right. Because there's no, I mean, like, yes, you can see the word count increase. You can see, like, you printed out your act 1 and you're like, oh my God, like it's physically here. Like you can see that stuff, but it's so hard. Like you don't have like a physical, like, progression of like a painting where it's like, okay, like I can see this is what the final forms kind of look like. Like you really are entirely going off of like your own intuition for like how you think the draft is going. It's not as simple as like somebody takes a look at like a piece of clay that you threw or something like that. Like it's so different. But I also think that's like kind of why it is really helpful to get feedback a lot of the time because it is so internal. But it's also just really hard to like know when the right time is for it too. Cause I feel like I even now writing draft 2, I'm a little bit like, oh my God, like this still needs so much work. Like it's so much stronger than it's ever been. But I'm like, I think I probably might even want to do like another complete and total pass before I even send this off to beta reader. So it's just like,
that makes sense.
It's so slow. And like, yeah, again, it's just like such a patience game. And I feel like I don't understand how authors just like churn books out because it takes me forever.
Yeah, isn't it funny that I thought I was going to query by the end of this year? Everyone laugh. Everyone laugh. That's funny. Hey, I haven't even finished this draft. Maybe next year.
By the end of the year. You have a schedule. I believe in you. You can do this.
We can both do this. We are on the right track.
We are. We are.
Okay, I feel like we talked about what we learned. Do you want to just go into Emily's voice note and end?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Because I feel like we talked a lot about like process, and I feel like sometimes like the what we worked on and what we learned like blends together, you know?
Merge. Yeah. Okay. Let me go find this voice note. Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yes.
Hi, Mick and Ari. It's Emily. And my question is, how much is too much to include in a story? And by that, I mean, when you're working on a story and trying to decide what scenes to include, whether you're a plotter or a pantser, how do you determine what scenes are going to be most impactful for your plot? Because obviously some scenes are very action-filled, some are more about the interiority and building a connection between your characters or between your reader and your character. So how do you prevent overwhelm, I guess, when trying to take stock of all the scenes that you could include and narrow them down to the scenes that are actually going to tell your story best? Because this is definitely something that I think has bottlenecked my drafting process for Project Stargazer, my first project. It's happening less with this new project, which is really exciting, but it's definitely something that I struggle with as a writer. So if either of you have any advice, I am all ears.
I love it. Thank you for sharing, Emily.
Thank you, Emily.
I also feel like this voice note, I don't know what it is. I feel like all of her voice note ties in, like they tie in really well to like what we've just spoken about.
Thing. Yeah, I hope you guys know we actually like we don't we've listened to this voice note, but I didn't remember what Emily asked at all. We just have like a list in order of what to go through. So magical.
Okay, so I know Emily is like a non-linear drafter,
which is insane, Emily, just so you know.
Actually, like my brain breaks when I think about it. Yeah. I'm like, how? But I know this about Emily. And so I think it's like, if you have this huge kind of like list of scenes, like how do you figure out what is going to tell your story best? And I think this is really complicated, especially as somebody who's like notoriously a linear drafter like I am.
Yeah.
But I think the most helpful thing is to like really think about like your theme and like what your like main plot point, like your main antagonist, your main like plot story engine is. And what you need the character arc to look like too. And like I feel like I've been thinking a lot about craft in this way because I've been kind of having to like reshuffle things around in my own story. And I kind of like to think about it as like, okay, like what is my theme? Like generally like my character's misbelief and like the character arc is going to be a variation on that theme. So like what's a a random theme. I don't know. Like you like think about Harry Potter. It's like you can do anything if you get like help from your friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if that is the central theme, like Harry is, let's say, somebody who tends to want to do things alone because that's how he's always done things. So that's like one variation on that theme. And the kind of like main plot engine of that story is like, let's say like book one, Sorcerer's Stone is he needs to get the Sorcerer's Stone like away from Voldemort, and he needs to do that. The only way he can do that is like with his friends, so he has to like accept help. And so it's like when you think about that story, like all of the scenes are going to be like him going to Hogwarts, like making friends, like making relationships that he feels like, okay, like I can let these people in, and like I can accept their help, so that like when it comes down to like the ultimate face off, like he can accept help and get by and through that like climax of the book, because he has like all of these people who have like helped support him, like his family in the mirror, and things like that. Like it's like, how are all these scenes revolving up to like build to that climax of the story and that character arc as well. Like it's synergy, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. No, I really like what you said about connecting it to theme. I am such a theme person, like when I'm writing. So I know I come up with a theme first. So I like that you kind of say like connect every scene to the theme, because that does help like push all your themes, should help drive the plot engine. I think too, how you were talking about theme and making sure everything ties to your plot. I think that's, at least for me, like my main goal for a scene, if I'm evaluating, it really is like, is this moving the main plot forward? And if it's not, is it moving a side plot forward, like a B plot? Because even if you have a scene, like if you have a romance subplot, you do need scenes where those characters are interacting and moving their romance forward, even if it has nothing to do with the main plot. It's better if it does, like if they're tied together. But if they don't, I feel like it's still okay as long as you're moving something forward. And at least for me, I really can only evaluate if a scene is good or not when I have the full thing in front of me. Because I think it's easier, like what you said, focusing on synergy. And I know, Emily, you do draft out of order. So this might be frustrating because all of our advice is like, you got to finish one draft and then you do it all in draft two. But I feel like really pacing is like what we've been talking about kind of this episode a lot, is what helps you realize if you need a scene or not, because the cause and effect dominoes have to fall. And I think when you are reading through your draft and you realize that the dominoes stopped and like it didn't continue where you thought it was going to go, you're like, oh, something's missing here, or I need to add something to like bridge these two scenes. Like I really think a lot of it is about pacing, and it's hard to look at it, at least for me, and maybe that's why you're getting stuck. I find it harder to look at it if I put like all my scenes sporadically on a board. Like I'd have to line them up in the cause and effect motion. They have to be in relation to each other. Like they have to be talking to the scene before it and after it, I feel like, to matter, quote unquote. I'm using quotations, but
100%. And I think that is such a good point, because I think cause and effect really is like the backbone of every story. Is like you want all of the actions and decisions of the character to like influence what comes next. And I think what's really hard is, I think a lot of the times, at least when I get an idea for a story, is I often think about the end. And like what I want that final feeling to feel like. And Emily, like, I don't know if you're like that at all. But I find that can be really, really hard, because you're like, I know what I want this like final end point to feel like. I know what how I want that climax to hit, how I want that resolution to feel. And I think a lot of the times that can leave you feeling a bit like, oh my God, but like, then how do we get there to make the payoff feel good? Right. And And that's when I think reverse engineering is like your best friend. And I think that's also why so many times we say, like, don't worry about the first chapters of your book, they're going to change. And that is because like you always want to reverse engineer the beginning of your book to make the ending feel like it was so worth it, right? And so like if you have that feeling of like, maybe it's just like an inkling of like, this is what I want the ending of the book to feel like, this is what I want the resolution to feel like what do you think in your vision is going to be such a drastic difference from the end? Like, what is the opposing view of that climax and of that resolution? Because that is generally, I think, where you want to start, is you want to start at like the exact opposite. So like, for example, I had another project where it was like, I wanted, like this main character was like very closed off, like had a very hard time letting people in the very beginning. And I was like, okay, so then the end, I need that character to be like, have let people in, have become trusting of like maybe one or two people that have like really changed her outlook on like being very closed off, right? So it's like, it's this constant like spectrum. And you can start at the beginning, or you can start at the end, or you can start at your end and like work your way back to the beginning. But like maybe that would also be helpful in a way of like thinking about the order of your scene is like, what is like a nugget that's there that you feel like sticks with the story at the core vision of the story, and how can you reverse engineer from there?
Yeah, I think that's a good point of focusing on how you want the ending to feel. It seems like your advice is really, and it's probably because that's what we've been talking about and what you've been thinking of. It's arc related. It's like making sure everything fits that arc, which is really good advice. Because I mean, that's, again, like every scene should be driving the plot, should be driving a side plot, but it should also be fulfilling, like Ari's saying, like the theme of the book and the character arc. So everything that's happening on the page, should be propelling your characters forward. It's like always forward momentum. And I think thinking about all these things is so important. The theme, like Ari said, the ending, like Ari said. And then I do feel like just a lot of it is going to come down to like reading it afterwards and figuring out the pacing, because you will know when it starts to lull. And when you do read, like, okay, I have chapter 17 and then chapter 18, reading it side by side, you'll be like, oh, okay, something needs to happen in between here. Or reading it in sequence from chapter 16 to 19, you might be like, we don't need chapter 17 at all. And I don't think that any scenes are wasted either. I feel like still, I know that with this project, you're in the drafting phase, Emily. I still feel like every scene, just write everything you want to write. Way easier to take out scenes than to realize like, oh shoot, I didn't write like 10 scenes I need to write. I think just write them all and then figure it out afterwards.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm a big fan of just like writing literally everything, because it always comes back in one way or another, and like it always serves a purpose. Yeah.
Perfect. I hope that was helpful. I think it was cool that it kind of touched on what we were talking about with everything being book shaped. Hopefully your book is book shaped.
Yeah. Also, like, I'm realizing how much I love arcs. Like, I love talking about arcs. Like, am I obsessed with arcs? I think so.
Someone needs to be.
I love how satisfying, like, how satisfying it is. And also, it's like they're fractals. And so there's just like arcs within arcs within arcs. And I'm like, oh, it's so soothing to think about.
That's on women in STEM. I love it.
Also, like, I worked my sequences, my Dana Harmon story circle sequences into my arcs. So it's like everything is an arc. Emily, just think about the arcs. Think about
the arcs. But that's why I think story structure is so interesting, and why you don't need it in the first beginning stages, because you can apply them to anything you do. You know, like you didn't write with Dan Harmon's story circle in mind, but now you are fitting it into your draft, because we all are intuitively writing the same story structure. It's a very weird phenomenon that happens. So I even have faith, Emily, that everything you're writing is probably the scenes that you need, because as writers, we are also readers and consumers of story. And you are probably coming up with the scenes you need because you've been reading and watching movies or TV shows or plays or any other storytelling for years and years and years. And there's a weird psychological phenomenon that we all are really telling very similar stories. I think that's cool.
I also think it's just like, yeah, exactly. Like by nature of the media that you consume, like we've been consuming media, books, TV shows, movies, songs, even since we were babies. Like it gets into your psyche. I think we all need to trust our intuition a little bit more. I think humans just generally are naturally storytellers, and we know intuitively how to do it more than we think we do.
We do. That's beautiful. I think we should end there. That's beautiful. Done and dusted. Listen to Ari. We all know what we're doing. Be more confident.
Trust yourself. Be more confident. Trust yourself.
That's what we all got to do.
If only it was so easy.
I know. LOL. No, we'll get there. You know, we're recording this the first week of December. And I'm so excited to see where we both are by the end of this year. And with that, before we crash out.
Did you hear my phone just go off?
I did. That
my
was
phone
perfect.
dinged like the second I did that.
In silence.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching/listening. And we'll see you next one.
We'll see you next one. Bye. Thanks for listening to Craft and Crashouts, a weekly podcast by Ari and Mick. If you liked this episode, be sure to follow along wherever you are listening to stay up to date for the next one. If you want to submit your crash out for the show, DM us at Craft and Crashouts on Instagram or email us at craftandcrashouts@gmail.com. Feel free to send us a voice note in either format. We'll talk to you next week with more craft talk and definitely more crash outs.